What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy Royale YouTube channel. As always, I am your host, Kevin Coleman at DuBois_22. And on these episodes that we're doing for the channel, we're just talking about players in 5 minutes that have moved from different schools and have transferred. And as you've seen, there's been a bunch of transfer chaos. I've done a ton of videos and just quick, hey, what can you expect of them? We're looking at their new plays, where they kind of fall on the depth chart, where they're going in WADP, a little bit of highlights, everything in between. And the guy that we're going to be talking about today is an interesting prospect, Brenden Rice. You know, Rice is the younger son to Jerry Rice, so obviously he has that pedigree there. He was at Colorado. Obviously, Colorado has gone through, they going through some of the stuff that we're working on for the Devy Royale and kind of going through team breakdowns. Colorado might be the worst offensive team I've ever seen, and that's not an overstatement. They were terrible, and so he's coming from that into a wide open kind of receiver room at USC with Lincoln Riley there. We know kind of what they have, and we've seen kind of what they're going to be bringing in. Mario Williams is coming there, is already on the channel. Terrell Bynum, and you're going to have basically Brenden Rice coming in there, right? So they added those guys. And what do you see from him? So let's talk about Rice and kind of where he comes from. 6'3", 205. You know, last season he had 21 receptions, 209 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and that's kind of where he was. He also carried the ball 6 times for 54 yards. He had 17 kick returns for 469 yards. So really, when you're looking at what he's been able to do, he's been pretty efficient when he gets the targets and he gets the usage. And I think that we've seen that. We've seen his kickoff returns from there. And, you know, his best game, you know, biggest stage was there. It was October 30th. Rice had 5-catch, 102-yard performance and a touchdown in that game, and he looked good. And when you look at what he's been able to do when he's gotten the targets, he's there. So I think he does have some value in terms of where he is at as a receiver. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of 247 Sports. Some said because of, you know, when you look at his pedigree, his father, all that kind of stuff. But I think he has some good evaluation of what they talked about. They called him a late day 3, upside day 3 selection. I think that's a fair kind of assumption coming out of high school. I don't know if we can really talk about like just what he is right now, because I think his ceiling has been limited based on the offense and the team has been on. Now, as far as kind of where he's at and his skills, he has straight line speed, physical upside. Like I said, big kid, 6'3", 205. He's got athleticism. So straight line speed, physical upside, athleticism, it is there. So can he be there? Can he kind of separate yourselves? Now, when we talk about it, you know, the quarterback that he was playing with, Brendan Lewis, finished with 118.82 rating. That was the lowest, second lowest in the Pac-12. So they couldn't really get him the ball. So I think the question is still out on him. And when we watch him as a prospect, when he did get the ball, I think there are some things to like. This is what I'm talking about with straight line speed. He has it. He's got that straight line speed there. He has some athleticism in the open field. I would say that his route running can be a little less than fluid when you watch him kind of run and those type of things. But I do think that he has the ability to kind of take the top off the defense. He's got good hands. When you watch him play, he can bring it down. And I think those are the things that you like from the tape. Where does he fit in? So that's the idea, right? Where can he go there? Now you'll see him in punt return and kick return. He did do this well. This was one of the I remember watching this game live. You know, one of my favorite games of that season. When he gets that edge, like when you see that right there, he just bursts through that line with that straight line speed. He can score. And I think that straight line speed is what we're talking about when we're talking about Rice. When they got it to him in space, again, you'll see it here against Utah, one of his best games. Again, he'll just take it to the house. So, again, can they get him into him in space? I mean, that's a big thing. 10 of Rice's 21 catches went for first downs. So when you think of, like, what he's been able to do in college, you know, 10 of those were for first downs. He had 8 catches that went over 15 yards, and 4 of those went over 25. So when we're thinking about him as a potential wide receiver, it's big playability. He did better job, too, and a lot of scouts have mentioned this, and when I was looking it up, 50-50 balls, he did better last season. So they've been shown to kind of catch those 50-50 balls that we've seen. He's had it there. So the big play is there. So when we're thinking about this, the physical tools, the big play is there. What hasn't he had? A quarterback, which he'll now have with Caleb Williams, and a system. And he's got Lincoln Riley as a system. And I think, you know, when you look at this too, he has good awareness here. He can see the ball in. Like, there are things that I like when I see his tape. Again, he's getting drafted very low. We're going to talk about that. But I do think there is value there, especially with where he's at and what he's been able to do. And when we're talking about just kind of where he's going in drafts, I mean, he's going way late. You know, you're looking at 35th to 45th round. Basically, that's my guy. I'm going to go draft him guy in C2Cs. And if you feel like that he can kind of do well in that system, especially with where that depth chart is there, that depth chart is open. So when we're looking at where that depth chart's going to be, he has the ability to come in and play his way into that starting lineup. in that system. I really think that they can. When you're looking at kind of where they're doing, you got to factor in CJ Williams. He's coming in. Freshman Gary Bright Jr. is still going to be there. But there's a place for Rice out there. I think when he makes opportunities, he can get out there, get the ball in his hands, and he's there. And I think he's an interesting prospect to take late in rounds, and maybe he pops. He's got the pedigree. He's got that offense now. Maybe that's something that this is a sleeper that we'd like to talk about. So he's an interesting prospect. So take a look at him. If you haven't already, hit that sub or like button for us, please, on the channel. We appreciate you guys. As always, we'll check you guys next time.